Next on Arizona 360, getting analysis on the month's big headlines.
At the end of the day, it was a Republican budget.
Whoever's in control calls the shots.
The ongoing push to enroll more preschoolers in Pima County.
Now is the time to start because this is not a short-term deal.
And how educators are shaping young minds.
Before it was just entertaining them and keeping them busy, and now it's actually teaching them.
Hello and welcome to Arizona 360. I'm Lorraine Rivera. Thank you for joining us. As we close out May, this week we take a deeper dive into some of the headlines that shaped the month, like the passage of a budget after a drawn-out legislative session at the Capitol and ongoing budget talks in Pima County that balance the need for road repairs and funding for early childhood education. Our conversation includes the Green Valley News' Sahuarita Sun's Dan Shear, the Arizona Daily Star Sarah Garrett Gasson, and Tucson Local Media's Jim Ninsel. Let's begin with what happened at the state capitol last week. Did we have a more bipartisan effort at trying to push through a budget?
We did not. At the end of the day, it was a Republican budget, and the Democrats, although they tried to add some amendments from time to time, were shot down. And yes, you're right. At one point, the Senate President Karen Fann did say, hey, I want to get ideas from both parties and put together a budget. I think one of the biggest problems with a budget, as we do them in Arizona these days, is they're all crafted behind closed doors. And in this particular instance, they rolled it out over Memorial Day weekend, when nobody was paying attention to what they were doing, and then passed it basically in the dark of night, which I think is unhelpful. I think these bills ought to go through an appropriations committee where you actually have hearings and people can know what we're spending money on, but that's just not the way we do things in Arizona.
These two were paying attention, though.
It's all horse trading, and it's been like that forever. And not only did Karen Fann say that, yeah, we're going to go ahead and involve everybody, but the governor in the State of the State address said the same thing, that we're going to set party labels aside and we're all going to have our say. Didn't happen, never happens. Whoever's in control calls the shots. And this year, it was of particular interest because there was a lot more money involved that they could spend, and everybody had their projects going. And oddly enough, even the Republicans were kind of holding up their own budget because they wanted their projects funded. And so it was interesting to watch, but it really isn't any different.
Pima County Board of Supervisors, let's go there now. $1.35 billion budget, more than we've seen in the past. This year there's a new line and it's called road repairs. Why did it take so long?
They're finally pulling it out of the general fund, and they're also recouping some money because they laid off a lot of people in the transportation department, which needed to be done. This was, by the way, Allie Miller, who had been driving that for a long time. And you know what? I think she was right on it. That it was a bloated department, and now there's some money there. It's not going to be nearly enough to fix the issue, but pulling money out of the general fund is a good start, and I think they've got, what, $26 million for this next year. Some of it's HERF money, some of it's savings realized from paying off the 97 bonds, and then there's some general fund money. We'll see what actually happens, but at least it's a start. At least it's a start, and they've had so many failed opportunities at this point.
Does this translate into that half-cent sales tax, though?
I'm not sure. I think the voters are kind of loath to pass a sales tax for anything. We've seen that with bonds over the past couple elections. I think that making it a line item is a way to make it more visible, like, yes, we're doing something, rather than having to sift through a very long Chuck Huckleberry memo to get the ins and outs of where the money's going. So we'll see how that turns out. It's a priority. It's also something that is $26 million, I think it is not going to get all the roads that need to be repaired. And also another part of that is Tucson, residents pay for roads, and then county residents also, like, you know, we're all paying for the county roads that we don't all use. I don't know that that's a great explanation or reason not to do it. I think we're all in this together, so to speak, but I think something that is visible that you can point to say, yes, we are taking care of roads, even if it's at this small amount, is helpful.
Before we wrap up what the Board of Supervisors has been up to, what do we make of Operation Stone Garden, the back and forth, the new funding? How much will Pima County really be front and center when it comes to providing a space for the migrants who are coming through this community?
I think that the Operation Stone Garden is symbolic. You know, we're talking about less than $2 million, and I don't understand why people got as worked up as they did on both sides of this issue, other than the fact that this is a symbolic border issue, and that made it important to people on both sides of the aisle. But I don't think Operation Stone Garden makes a huge difference in the sheriff's budget. They are looking, obviously, for some money to help with the migrants and the asylum seekers who are coming through town.
Obviously, people are divided on the issue, but it is symbolic, but why not say, no, we're going to take this stand, we're not going to accept this money. It's being used in ways that go beyond what we think the role of a sheriff's department should be.
They've accepted it for 12 years.
Times change.
The president has changed, and that's what did it. And it's all political, and now we're putting our law enforcement officials in danger because someone wants to make a political point. That's my problem with it.
Don't people want some consistency to know that they can count on the government? I mean, one year we're taking money, the next year we're not, so many changes in the wind. Do we lose faith in our system?
I don't think that's what's causing people to lose faith in the system. I mean, programs are going to change over the course of a few years. I mean, that's hardly unusual. I think that the reason people are losing faith in government goes back to the extraordinary partisanship that we're seeing on both sides, where you have people just completely at each other's throats, and folks who are not engaged in government look at this and say, I can't make sense of it, and they throw up their hands.
All right, outside of the politics of government and roads, there's also a push to fund scholarship programs for low-income families who want to send their 3- and 4-year-olds to preschool. We'll explore that issue next, and we'll come back to our roundtable later in the show. We've previously covered the proposed Pima County preschool investment program geared towards sending all 3- and 4-year-olds in the county to a quality preschool. Proponents want the county to set aside $5 million in initial funding and hope it gradually expands to serve thousands of families. Pima County Supervisor Richard Elias voiced his support for the program early on, but whether the county will agree to fund it remains uncertain. In our studio, we asked Elias about some of the concerns.
Well, I think the board has a number of different concerns. Number one is costs, because the cost for it, although it is a small pilot program right now, the implications of that are huge. There's certainly a large part of the population that's always concerned about tax increases and what we're doing with our spending. So I think that's justifiable and smart, and so we have to respond to that as well. The other thing is traditionally to this point, investing in quality preschool for children is not a business line that the Pima County government has been involved in. So it's branching out into something that's new.
Is Pima County looking at the state saying, where are you in all this? Why not kick in some of this cash? Because it's been cut in the past.
Well, to be honest with you, no.
Okay.
The state legislature has shown that it's not really interested in investing further in education. They're not even treading water of where they've been. And there's been a lot of discussion about that over the last year, especially since the Red for Ed movement. And the federal investment in public education has been shrinking as well. The communities that have found success with quality preschool have done it with local funds and local government being involved.
When initiatives like this fail, what are elected officials telling the community when the support may not be there at the local level?
I think people understand that there are plenty of priorities in the budget that we have to respond to. Road repair is a good example of one. But again, like I said, Lorraine, that's a matter of not having the right funding sources in place. And as you use local sources to do that, you have to make sure that there's tax equity for everybody involved. And that's made that issue particularly daunting and challenging for us.
There are certain people who will see the county and say, why can't you just do this? You've been on the board for some time now. How exactly does the checkbook really work when you say, why can't we just do this? What are some of the factors that you have to consider before you make an investment?
Well, you have to have a good rainy day balance. You have to have a funding balance at the end of the year that secures you and your various departments. Right now, measles are a big thing here in the United States. The last time we had 23 cases of measles in Pima County was about 5 years ago. And gosh, we probably spent $4 million on it in a matter of a month and a half, but we put a stop to it. So what you have to do is make sure that the business lines that you're operating in are secure.
If you had to make a pitch to your fellow supervisors right now of why early education funding is needed, what would it be?
We have to find a way to change the trajectory of our students, of our youth, so that they're able to find jobs here locally, so they feel the confidence in their lives to continue their education, so that they understand that we care and we're going to make a difference in their lives. Those are the best reasons of all. If I was being practical, I would also add, we have the money right now to do this. Now is the time to start, because this is not a short-term deal. This is something we need to work on collectively as a community, and we need to gather the forces of our school districts, our business sector, and all the different entities that provide education to our children, including higher education.
Okay, Supervisor Elias, thank you.
Thank you.
We wanted to get a first-hand look at early childhood education and how it's evolved over the years. Arizona 360 visited Casa de los Ninos, a center in operation for nearly 50 years. It recently expanded its services to cast a wider net in the community, opening the Kelly Early Education Center. There are currently 100 children enrolled, and there's room to grow. Elijah, how old are you? 5. And who's this guy?
Easton, you already know.
And Easton, how old are you? Inside this Midtown Early Learning Center, we visit with a group of preschoolers. We're here to find out what they know about the world around them.
I'm 5.
You're gonna go to kinder? Ooh, no naps in kindergarten. Did you know that? No naps in kindergarten.
Yay!
Lessons learned here, from counting
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
to astronomy. Is the sun a star?
Yes.
It is. You got it right. And so much more.
Look at birds.
What kind of sound do birdies make?
Tweet, 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 tweet.
Come from educators like Miss Phyllis and Miss Andrea, who have 44 years of experience combined. I asked them how their approach to early childhood education has evolved over the years.
Before it was just entertaining them and keeping them busy, and now it's actually teaching them emotional, cognitive manners is one of the things we like to focus on.
The requirements for teachers like yourself changed over the years?
Oh, definitely. When you get into areas that are like NACI and Quality First that go and fund early education programs, as well as they come into the schools and they provide a lot of coaching, they require a lot of teachers to start going back to school, not only for their benefit, but for the benefit of the students.
There you go.
And you see it in the classrooms, because not only do kids start learning a lot more at a younger age, like Ms. Phyllis was saying, but you see a lot of their interest being integrated into the lesson plans as well.
Do you think you're a better teacher after all these years, but with more education?
I do. And one of the things that I do now, too, is I like to incorporate the families. So teaching them skills at home that can help them grow both at school and at home.
What would you like?
Well, what are my options?
I know there's peppers and there's mushrooms and pepperoni.
There are families who don't always make the investment, or they think it's easier to just leave them with grandma, grandpa, and, they're gonna spend the day with Nana and they'll be fine. What do you say to that? Because so much of that can just be cultural, it's affordable, and it's just something that we did when we were kids.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. It is cultural and it is affordable, but at the same time, they need that foundation. They need that social emotional foundation and the introduction to academics, because it helps them so much. By the time they hit kindergarten, they're ready.
You worked in an elementary school. Can you tell when a kiddo did not have early ed before they got to you?
Oh, definitely. You could tell right away. Not only are the social skills not up to par, but just it's so overwhelming to them, and you could tell within the first few days.
Ms. Phyllis, when we talk about social skills, what really are you trying to unpack there? Because it's not just sharing, it goes beyond that.
Right. It's communicating with other children, and once they can do that, they can play together better.
Honestly, we model with the way we interact with our peers as far as coworkers and as far as the kids, because they're going to learn from us. So if they see us using our words and asking nicely and just role modeling those good habits, they're going to catch on. Children could always learn through play, and that's how we set up a lot of our centers. They think they're playing, they're having a good time, but there's a purpose behind the activity. Whether it's language skills or problem solving, they're actually working.
Hey Nathan, do you know what shape this is?
Triangle.
How important is putting aside that perception and letting people know that regardless of the child's background, when they're here under this roof, everybody's equal?
It's a big deal. I know parents think that we're only here for the lower income or the children that have issues, but it's not. The whole community is like that. The whole community encompasses everything. Our goal is that they will crave education, crave more education, so that they will continue in education and not drop out in high school or junior high, but they will continue to go on to college and become leaders in our city.
Next time, won't you sing with me?
Good job! For more about some of the services offered by Casa de los Ninos, I'm joined by Early Education Director Micah Lebelarte. Micah, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Let's begin. Casa de los Ninos has been here for nearly 50 years. The mission hasn't changed, but it's actually in a place where it can expand. Tell me about that.
A lot of the programs now are providing in-home support, and there's less need for children to be in like a group home situation. So by launching the Early Education Center, we're not only serving the children in that center, we're serving the whole families.
The Kelly Early Education Center actually has already achieved a certain set of standards necessary to provide high quality, not just any type of preschool service.
Yes, we built the program to meet the highest accreditation standards, the highest quality standards, and that looks at things like staff qualifications and education, low ratios and group sizes, much lower than the state, so that we can provide really good care to meet the needs of the individual children as well as the groups.
There's something to be said too for a family who is working maybe a lower wage job and doesn't exactly have the time off from work to be able to tend to their child, but that there's like a community domino effect when mom or dad is able to leave the little one off with you, know that they get a certain level of care, and then they turn back to work and they're actually performing well because they're not so worried about what's going on with their son or daughter.
Absolutely. That's where we're meeting. We're not just serving the child in this equation, we're serving the whole family. When we can provide that quality, stable, loving environment where parents can relax knowing their children are well cared for, and that our staff is specifically trained in positive behavior management and even trauma-informed care, plus we have the specialists, then we're also there to support children with higher needs or behavioral issues, where in previous places, parents are constantly called to come pick up their child, but we have the support to help their child in that space, and they don't have to lose time off of work.
Essentially, you don't turn children away or send them home if they're being difficult.
Not at all.
Okay.
No, we built this especially for that purpose because the rate of expulsion in preschool and kindergarten is outrageous. So this is what we're hoping to help. So when a child can have that positive experience in an early learning environment, that can transcend to their whole education experience.
If a child who comes from an at-risk, low-income household suddenly has access to early education and quality care for their emotional and physical needs, can that change a community around us?
It absolutely can, because, like I said, the families are happier and healthy, the child's happier and healthy, the child is able to start at a much better place and have a much better outcome with their school, and more likely to go to college, more likely to have all-around success. I mean, the research shows that that is the direct outcome of a high-quality early learning opportunity.
Okay, Micah, thank you.
You're welcome.
We're coming back to our roundtable. We want to stay on the issue of funding early childhood development. Sarah, this is something that you recently did at the Arizona Daily Star. You traveled to many states outside of Arizona.
Yes.
So where does Arizona fit when it comes to funding early education?
So what we've done at the Arizona Daily Star's opinion section is we decided what is one thing that could make a real difference over the course of many years for Pima County. And it comes down to early childhood education is one of the best investments a community can make. And we went to 5 different places across the country. These are places that had local early childhood education programs that were successful. And because we realized in Arizona, you can't wait for the state to do anything, pretty much. We need to do it ourselves. There's been a working group of people from SALC, the Southern Arizona Leadership Council, advocates who were with Strong Start, other people in the area of early childhood education, and they've really been working behind the scenes to come up with what they call the PCPIP, which is Pima County Preschool Investment Program. We might need a new name. Unfortunately, only Richard Elias has been very public in his support. The thought is, and this is what Chuck Huckleberry has said, that he views it as a program that should be more than just paid for by the county. Totally makes sense. What I think he doesn't understand about it is he's referring to it as a program that would benefit Pima County kids. It really will benefit everyone in Pima County.
Dan, why is this such a hard sell? Is it purely the money?
I think because a lot of people don't see that there is much of a difference between daycare and preschool. I don't. I think that preschool is valuable, but we're in a state that can't even get K-12 right. And also, where a lot of these programs are funded, the county generally isn't doing it. It's often the state generally using federal grants. So to ask a county to do it is a big ask, particularly a county that has so many other problems, has very high tax rate, and has a lot of people living in poverty. I agree that there's a long-term benefit, but I don't know that this is necessarily going to be a priority with a lot of people.
I like the idea of providing more preschool opportunities for kids. I think it is an economic development issue for sure. I think asking the county to shoulder all the burden is not thing we can afford at this point. I think if your county officials went ahead with that, they'd probably lose the next election, and then whoever came in would get rid of the program. So I think that's, I do think you can move forward with exploring it. I would love to see more partnerships. There's no doubt the state has been a deadbeat dad in this situation. They've cut back, and it is worth it to make sure that kids have a safe place to be. They're not neglected, and they're learning something during the day and being well taken care of. However, I don't think the county can afford to go it alone.
This was one small part of a bigger plan. More people are coming into the table. Schools were represented in the working group. It's something that, yes, this was a seed to get started, but no one is saying the county should just pony up for everything.
Dan, how's this likely to play out?
I think it's a question of responsibility, and it's a question of priorities, and I aim those 2 words at parents who should be doing the preschool work, who should be at home with their kids if possible. I understand that it can't be that case for a lot of people, but we are giving our kids over to the system, and now we're telling the system that you're responsible for daycare for my child, and you're responsible for getting them to kindergarten or 1st grade where they can go to school all day and I can go to work and I don't have to worry about it. I really think it's going to come back to people feeling that they're paying for daycare for other people, and it's not their responsibility.
Then they don't understand what the high quality education is. It would be great if every family who wanted to could have a parent stay home, raise the child full time. That is not reality.
We have a lot of single moms living in poverty in this community who need this kind of help.
But what
There's
is
no
also-
doubt about that,
but-
and if giving your kids over to loving teachers who spend the day with them in a community of other like-minded kids is handing them over to the system, then I'm guilty of handing my kids over to the system. But I just find that characterization to be an inaccurate look at what's actually going on.
We were blessed to be able to have my wife at home with our kids. It was absolutely the best situation.
And that's a great thing.
Exactly, and some people I understand can't have that, but now let's go back
No,
to
it's not
daycare
some.
versus pre.
It's not some, it's
majority.
many.
Okay,
And
so now
we
you're
shouldn't
saying
have to decide
you're saying we
because-
should pay for daycare.
No,
Just say it.
no, I'm
Just say it.
not.
What's the
I'm
difference between daycare
absolutely
and
not
preschool?
Saying there should
We
be a
should
funding
pay for
mechanism.
daycare.
There should
We
be a
should.
funding mechanism
We
for
absolutely
early
should.
education.
We absolutely should pay for daycare. That was a
Okay.
decision made by the Republicans and Democrats in the 1990s when we did welfare reform, because we said we wanted to get people back into the workforce. A person can't get back into the workforce if they can't have safe, reliable child care. It just doesn't work because you're counting on your sister or your mom or somebody
Or
else
your
to
neighbor.
take, or your neighbor to
Does
take
this
care of
come
these
down
kids.
to, there are many arguments to this, but is it partly political, where you're going to see Democrats versus Republicans on this with
Oh,
fiscal
yeah.
responsibility?
Well,
I hope not.
I really need to make the point that there is a vast difference between daycare and childcare and a high quality early childhood education facility. Whether that could be a provider in someone's home, that could be a center, that could be classrooms in an elementary school. You have certified, you have credentialed teachers, you have people who have child development expertise and understanding, and perhaps since you don't have expertise or experience with daycare versus preschool because your family was able to keep a parent home, I think learning about what the reality is, learning about the facts between the two different programs and not trying to graft your own personal family experience onto something that is very, it's daycare and a high quality preschool.
But you're
are
painting a
not the
picture.
same.
You're painting a picture of preschools with people with doctorates. It's simply
So?
not the case. It's not the case, though, and you can't afford that,
How do you know?
and we can't
How do you
afford
know?
it. And then
How do
let's
you
go-
know?
and
When
let's
were you in a
go-
preschool program?
How many of them have doctorates, Sarah?
I
How
can
many of
tell
them
you-
have
Alright,
anything more than a high school education?
No, that is not true.
Well,
I can tell
let's
you that-
watch Arizona 360 because we went into a preschool and we have the kiddos, so we can agree to disagree on this one. I am curious though, how many of you guys went to preschool? Preschool? No. Okay, Nana, that's me. All right, let's stop there. Well, three of us will go take a nap and have some snacks and then play nicely together. My thanks to all three of you. That's all for now. Thanks for joining us. To share your feedback, visit us on social media or email us at arizona360@azpm.org. We'll see you next week.